Welcome everyone back to another video on the Secret channel. So the reason I need to make this video is because a lot of important stuff has happened recently with Josh Gates and a man named Andy Abrams, and regarding to the secret of Charleston, South Carolina, which, as you know, Charleston, South Carolina is the task that I am doing. So that's what this whole thing is on. Now I'm not going to give away the location yet, but basically I got a presentation to Josh, which I'll show you in a second. And I met a man named Andy Abrams who found the Cleveland cask, and I need to tell you how I got to this point. So, just to prove that I met the guy, here's his picture that I got. And then, along with the picture, right, I got the secret book signed by Josh. As you can see here. Frank, treasure's out there. Go find it. Josh Gates. So, that is where I've gotten with regards to the secret. Okay. So, now, to move on to the story, where I tell you how it is that I met the man named Josh Gates. So, it started off when we went to the Poconos, which Josh is going to have a whole show, so I'll give you the start, or I'll update you on that later. But he did a live show at Mohegan Sun Arena in Pennsylvania. So I went down there, I watched that show, and when my father told me to go take a seat, and because we figured there's no way that we're going to get the presentation to him because the show's going to start in 15 minutes. There's nothing we can do now. Now, me being the smart guy, I don't say anything. I just say, okay, and I, quote, go to sit down at my seat. Well, long story short, I don't go and sit down in my seat. So instead what I do is I go towards the backstage, and I attempt to find Josh myself. I don't go backstage, but a guy walks out from behind, and I ask him, and I say, hey, do you see Josh Gates back there? And he goes, and I say, because I have a really important paper that I need to get to him. And he tells me, well, I can't help you, but his assistant is working up at the front. So, yeah, that's how I got his assistant. He's working the merchandise stand. So I decide, okay, I'm going to go up and I'm going to talk to this guy because, well, I need to get Josh's presentation. So we go. So I get my dad. We wait till everyone leaves for the show, and then we talk to him. We basically show him what we've done. We gave him the presentation, told him that we really need to get this to Josh and stuff, and he says that he loves what we're doing. So, and he will definitely give it to Josh. So, all I'm gonna say is this huge thank you to Jack if you're watching this. I really appreciate it. And yeah, we're just gonna continue. Anyways, so now after that, we're like, okay, this is looking good. So the following weekend, we have a show. He has a show down in New Jersey. So, and we couldn't get the meet and greets to the one in Pocono, but we got tickets to the exclusive Q&A with Josh at the New Jersey one. So Long story short, some people asked some questions. Jeez, I can't talk. Some people asked some questions, and then eventually we got onto the topic of the secret. And he had one lady ask him about it. And then when we put our hands up, we had the book and everything, and he decided not to call on us. So I just looked at my dad, and we were both just like, okay, well, this could be over. Because he might not want to do anything with it. And then he says, last question. My dad raises his hand for the final time, and he calls on him. So we talked to Josh for a solid 15 minutes. I get my picture with him and stuff, and it's all great. And I give him the presentation, and I give him a little something, which you'll find out later. And I told him that basically what I just gave you, if you read the presentation, you'll figure out the meaning behind this, which hopefully you guys will find out soon if everything goes according to plan. So we finish up the Q&A. We figure, okay, absolutely nothing could get better than that, right? So we go out, we call everyone, we tell them how well it went and stuff like that. And then eventually we eat, and then we go back into we go back to watch the show. Now this is where the story both gets interesting and almost very bad, actually. So we're watching the show, and midway through the show, he walks off stage, and my dad and I both really have to go to the bathroom. And my dad says, if you really need to go now. And I say, no, I'm fine. He walks back on stage with our presentation in hand. So that's when I looked at my dad, and I'm like, okay, good thing I didn't leave. And you could hear the whole crowd just started whispering, like, is that what I think it is? And stuff like that. And we just looked at each other like, oh crap. So after the show ended, we got into the 1 hour Q&A that he does after them. And we got onto the topic, not of the secret yet, but we got onto the topic of like what his most exhilarating events that he had done in Destination Truth and Expedition Unknown and stuff was. And then after a couple questions on stuff like that, in the end he just goes, okay, does anyone have any questions on this specific topic? And he holds up the secret, and I go, and none of us, and my dad, okay, and my dad and I look at each other, and we're like, oh wow, he is pretty much going directly towards us. So then I'm thinking to myself, okay, I wonder where this is going. So after a couple minutes, we had some people ask, like, is he still following it and stuff? And then he goes, well, if this answers your question, and he holds up my presentation, and he says, Frank, please stand up. And it was the scariest thing, but most exciting thing. It was just so many different emotions all at the same time in front of a crowd of 5,000 people or something like that. Not sure exactly how many. I just stood up and I was talking to him. Like, I actually started talking to him. And I'll tell you what, it was so scary, but exciting at the same time. So basically he started off by asking, like, how much do I think like, what are the odds that I found it, basically? Like, how high of a percentage do I think that I have that I actually figured it out, a 40-year-old mystery, figured out by two 13-year-olds? And I go, oh, at least 99%. Literally just like that, I go, at least 99%. No stuttering or anything, it was just like that. And then he asked me, how old am I? So, and I just respond truthfully, I go, I'm 13. And then he says, that he thinks that there's a special guest, and he thinks I might have actually solved it. And he goes, but we have a special guest here. And he goes, Andy, please stand up. And I just kind of look at him like, who is this? And stuff. And he goes, this is the guy who found the Cleveland cask. And he starts talking, and I'm just sitting there like, he had me stand up that whole time. I'm just standing there like, oh my god. And then basically once he got talking and stuff, I was just like listening, trying to figure out everything, what was going on in my head, because trust me when I say, I had no idea. My little head couldn't process everything all at once. I was in shock, I was excited, I was nervous, I was everything you could think of pretty much. Just all mixed into one, and it just felt great and terrible at the same time. So, once he got done talking, basically, he told me to go to him after the show, get his number and stuff, and, get his number, and put our heads together to try and solve this mystery, to make sure that he thinks we're right. So, after a while, we leave the show. Well, not leave the show, but we leave the auditorium. And he's sitting in the lobby. Not Josh. Andy is sitting in the lobby on his phone or whatnot. And we started talking to him. And then he was saying what it felt like. Because I had so many questions for him, like what it felt like when he hit it and stuff like that. Because as if you've seen, he has a probe. So what it looked like, what it felt like when he hit it, what it sounded like and stuff. Did he break it and all that kind of stuff? Because I may or may not have experience with all that kind of stuff. Anyways, but so we were talking and I was telling him about all the different things that we felt when we hit it and stuff. And it was very interesting, to say the least. And he was like, oh yeah, cool. So, and it sounded, from what he was describing, it sounded exactly like what we had hit. Which, I don't know, I say that means something. But, yeah, that's basically what happened that night. And I'm trying to think, not much else really happened. At the end of the video, I'll probably play some clips of him talking, but I can't get any with me in it, obviously not yet. But, yeah, so, for me, that's it. Thank you all so much for coming out and watching this video. So, yeah. Anyways, we met Josh Gates. Huge thanks to Jack, his assistant. And yeah, thank you all so much for watching. See y'all in the next one. Bye.
Every day is like this. I get something. I believe in you. I think you got it.